Buckle up, because the Tiffany Henyard saga has just taken a jaw-dropping turn. If you've been following her chaotic political journey, you might have seen the red flags, but nothing could have prepared us for this. From whispers of corruption to full-blown scandals, the so-called super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And now, in a move that has left the entire city in shock, the FBI stormed a city council meeting and arrested her on charges of embezzling a staggering $12 million in taxpayer funds. Yes, you heard that right. $12 million. This is more than just a scandal. This is a full-blown political earthquake. Let's dive into the chaos that's unraveling right before our eyes.
Has two political jobs on two public payrolls. As mayor of South Suburban Dalton, or as she calls herself, Super.
Scott, the meeting wrapped up early because two trustees, as you mentioned, did not show up. Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle. Without them, not enough board members were present.
Tiffany Henyard, a political figure more controversial than a reality TV star, has become the face of scandal in her village. Constantly wrapped in controversy, the embattled mayor of the financially struggling town has long been synonymous with corruption. But this time, things have taken a darker turn. The FBI has stepped in, and the accusations are far more serious than anything the public has seen before. The small town of Dalton, already grappling with economic hardships, now finds itself at the center of a major investigation. Henyard, once dubbed the super mayor, has been implicated in what appears to be a meticulously orchestrated scheme to funnel taxpayer money into her personal account. The sum? A staggering $2 million was siphoned from a community that desperately needed those funds for infrastructure and public services. The revelation has left residents in utter disbelief. The impact of Henyard's alleged actions has hit the community like a gut punch. Many who once trusted her to improve the town's finances now feel deeply betrayed. One local official didn't hold back, calling her behavior a massive breach of public trust, echoing the sentiments of many. This isn't just mismanagement, it's outright theft. The money that allegedly vanished into her personal accounts could have been used to fix streets, improve infrastructure, and address urgent needs. Instead, residents watched their town crumble, while their mayor allegedly lived lavishly at their expense. At a recent town meeting, the frustration boiled over. One resident shouted, "She's supposed to be fixing the streets, not lining her pockets." The outrage is real. The image of Henyard allegedly enjoying a luxurious lifestyle while the town falls apart is enraging. Potholes are everywhere. Public services are underfunded, and infrastructure is crumbling. Meanwhile, the mayor appears to have been living it up, further angering the people who once put their faith in her leadership. But the financial loss isn't the only thing haunting Dalton's residents. Yes, $2 million is a massive sum for a small town, but the betrayal cuts even deeper. Henyard's actions have shattered the trust people had in their local government. The FBI's involvement signals just how serious the situation has become. It's clear that Henyard's days in office are numbered. What started as whispers of corruption has exploded into a full-blown scandal, capturing national attention. As the investigation continues, more details are expected to emerge, potentially exposing an even larger web of corruption than anyone imagined. Just when it seemed like the situation couldn't get any worse, Henyard dropped another bombshell. She announced she's running for re-election. Despite the FBI investigation and the overwhelming backlash, she has the audacity to ask for more votes from the very residents she allegedly stole from. One furious local didn't hold back, saying, "She has the nerve to ask for our votes, while stealing from us? Tone deaf much?" Her announcement has only fueled the criticism, and instead of gaining support, it has driven her critics into overdrive. And the scandals don't stop there. Henyard is now facing an eviction lawsuit after allegedly failing to pay rent since August, despite raking in a six-figure salary. Her landlord, Janetta Ho, reluctantly spoke out, revealing that she initially trusted Henyard, believing her high-profile position would make her a reliable tenant. But that trust quickly evaporated when Henyard allegedly stopped paying rent, and even changed the locks on the property to prevent Ho from entering. In disbelief, Ho vented her frustration. For someone making over $300,000 a year, this is unacceptable. A six-figure salary, and she can't even pay rent? Make it make sense. This personal financial mismanagement mirrors her alleged actions in office, further tarnishing her already shattered reputation. A public official should lead by example, yet Henyard's actions paint the opposite picture. The very person entrusted with improving the town is now accused of exploiting it for personal gain. It's as though she's trying to run away from one mess only to jump headfirst into another, all while asking for the town's votes and support to continue leading them. At this point, Tiffany Henyard's political career is hanging by a thread. With each new revelation, it becomes harder for anyone to take her seriously. What started as a series of questionable decisions has spiraled into a tangled web of scandals and personal failures, and if she thinks she can overcome this latest debacle, she's seriously out of touch with reality. How could she possibly ask for trust, let alone votes, when she's facing eviction, an FBI investigation, and zero accountability for her actions? This is the story of a politician whose every move seems to reveal a deeper and more troubling pattern of dishonesty, negligence, and greed. For the residents of Dolton, the only thing left to do is watch as Henyard's already crumbling career sinks even further into the depths of scandal and chaos. Because at this point, it's not a matter of if she falls, it's a matter of when.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure is spiraling further into chaos with each passing day. What once seemed like a promising political career for Dolton has quickly devolved into a scandal-ridden disaster. At the center of it all is Henyard's increasingly erratic behavior and blatant disregard for authority, actions that have now drawn the attention of federal investigators. The story has become so bizarre that it's almost hard to believe. Take, for example, the infamous banners that once declared her the super mayor of Dolton. They didn't last long. The Board of Trustees swiftly ordered their removal, and predictably, Henyard lost her temper. In an unbelievable move, she called the police, demanding that the workers responsible for taking the banners down be arrested for theft of government property. One worker summed it up best. "She's acting like Dolton is her personal kingdom." This was just the beginning of a pattern that exposed Henyard's increasing contempt for any oversight. Things took an even more bizarre turn when Township Supervisor Mike A. Thornton scheduled a special meeting to approve events Henyard wanted funding for by the township. But in a clear sign of just how isolated she had become, not a single trustee showed up. The meeting was canceled, leaving Henyard alone with no support, turning the moment into yet another spectacle of her desperate need for control. In Henyard's world, public meetings are less about governance and more like a WWE smackdown, filled with shouting, walkouts, and police interventions. It was becoming painfully clear that she was more interested in controlling the spotlight than actually serving her community. One of the most jaw-dropping moments came when she attempted to appoint an unqualified candidate as police chief. Critics immediately called it a blatant power grab, but Henyard doubled down, dismissing concerns and bizarrely claiming that people were simply jealous of her. Jealous of what? Running a sinking ship? As allegations of corruption piled up, whispers of federal investigations into Henyard's actions became more serious. Reports emerged of federal agents interviewing witnesses as part of an ongoing probe that could potentially lead to criminal charges. While the specifics remain unclear, one thing is certain: the scrutiny surrounding her is only intensifying, and the walls are closing in. Then, in one of the most bizarre moments of her leadership, Henyard took to Facebook Live for a 90-minute rant, spending nearly an hour attacking her critics and even threatening to have them arrested. It was a cringeworthy performance in which she painted herself as the victim rather than the public official accused of misappropriating taxpayer funds. One resident, clearly fed up, asked during the live stream, "Who threatens to arrest people just for disagreeing with them?" This sentiment is spreading fast across Dalton. Many believe Henyard has completely lost touch with the community, and her actions are becoming more erratic by the day. The growing perception is that she has no respect for the law, the people she was elected to serve, or even basic decency. She has managed to turn local politics into a chaotic theater of absurdity, where personal power seems to be her only concern. Whether it's undermining authority, appointing unqualified people to key positions, or using public platforms to threaten critics, it's clear she will do anything to maintain control, even if it means alienating the very people she's supposed to represent. With the FBI now stepping in, things are looking even bleaker for Henyard. The stakes have been raised, and it's now a waiting game to see whether formal charges will follow. Her political career, once filled with potential, is unraveling in real time. What was once seen as the rise of a promising figure in local politics has now become a case study in scandal, self-destruction, and possibly even criminal consequences. The saga is far from over, but one thing is clear: Henyard has crossed too many lines to escape unscathed. Whether or not she faces formal charges, her grip on power is slipping fast. The long-suffering residents of Dalton can only watch as her dramatic fall from grace continues to unfold, one scandal at a time. 48. To Tiffany Henyard's grip on power is weakening by the day, yet she continues to act as if she's untouchable, treating Dalton like her personal kingdom. In her eyes, questioning her authority isn't an option, as if she were running a dictatorship rather than a small town. Her latest meltdown at a city council meeting became the talk of social media, with Supermayor trending, not in admiration, but in mockery. The meeting took a bizarre turn when Henyard's loyal supporters packed the room, cheering as she boasted about the township's so-called financial stability. This was despite the glaring reality that her own actions had plunged Dalton into financial turmoil. Whether unaware of the controversies surrounding her or simply in denial, her supporters clapped along, treating her like a political savior, something far from the truth. Then came what many called the pièce de résistance, a delusional public statement where Henyard compared herself to Donald Trump. In a moment that left many shaking their heads, she confidently declared that she would win re-election in a landslide despite the scandals engulfing her. "Just like Trump, I'm coming in strong. The people know the truth, and they will stand by me," she proclaimed. The crowd's response? Complete silence, followed by laughter. The scene was surreal, with Henyard's inflated sense of self-importance on full display, yet the mockery she faced was impossible to ignore. Her arrogance isn't just an issue of ego, it reflects a dangerous disregard for reality. Dalton's board of trustees can't even hold meetings to approve payments for essential services, yet Henyard continues to present herself as a victorious leader, ignoring the chaos surrounding her administration. Her rise to power wasn't about policy. It was a calculated move to consolidate control. According to former ally Carmen Carl, Henyard never had the town's best interests at heart. Her political career has always been about power, corruption, and financial mismanagement. The taxpayers deserve better than this, Carl stated, echoing a growing sentiment among Dolton residents. Henyard's handling of law enforcement has also raised serious concerns. One of her most reckless moves was appointing a police chief who wasn't even certified. Critics immediately called it a blatant power grab, but Henyard arrogantly dismissed their concerns, reinforcing the perception that she only listens to those within her small, unquestioning inner circle. Her combative response to legitimate criticism reveals just how far she's willing to go to maintain control, even if it means disregarding state laws and public safety. Despite her shrinking support base, she remains defiant. When Dolton trustees began holding meetings without her, she responded by filing a lawsuit against them, further escalating tensions. Instead of addressing real issues, Henyard continues to waste time and taxpayer money on legal battles to protect her own authority. Public meetings, once intended for governance, have become spectacles of chaos. At one meeting, fed-up residents booed her off the stage, with one person shouting, "Why won't you step down? This is embarrassing!" Rather than taking responsibility, Henyard continues to shift blame. When questioned about a foundation linked to her office that wasn't properly registered, she awkwardly dodged the questions, claiming she had no knowledge of its activities or finances, only fueling further suspicions. Meanwhile, the FBI investigation into her conduct is intensifying, and with each passing day, her circle of allies shrinks. Even some of her most loyal supporters are beginning to question her leadership. Yet Henyard remains undeterred. In a recent Facebook post, she defiantly declared, "They can try to tear me down, but I'm not going anywhere." Residents of Dolton responded with collective eye rolls, now viewing her administration less as a serious political crisis and more as an absurd spectacle. With multiple scandals unfolding, a federal investigation underway, and public trust at an all-time low, the question isn't if Henyard will fall, but when. Will the FBI finally bring her to justice? Or will her relentless manipulation keep her in power longer than anyone expects? Dolton's residents are watching closely, waiting for the day she can no longer escape the consequences of her actions. One thing is certain: this saga is far from over.